And never pay your rent. I love making this kind of videos so that I can be able to help you and show you, hey, by the way, you really don't have to look rent like as if it's an animal that you cannot be able to handle. You can tackle this. And by the way, I'm gonna make this video for the next 14 or 15 minutes, and it might actually change your life. All what you need to do is to watch it to the end. Enough with the long introduction. Now, what exactly do you do? Before I even tell you to subscribe, there are two ways on how you can, actually there are three ways on how you can actually pay your rent. Or there is three ways on how you can avoid your rent, okay? Three ways, when you talk about the way number one, is to simply build your own home. This is the most common one. Build your own home, okay? Build your own home, okay? Get the money, get a piece of land somewhere, or maybe purchase a land somewhere which is already been built, and you have yourself a home and you are away with the rent. Or number two, hey, my goodness, these pens of mine are actually refusing to work. Or number two, you can actually go ahead and do what? Have an investment that will be paying you your rent. Have an investment. Are we together? The returns that you get from that investment now can pay your rent. Are we together? You pay your rent. And the lastly, what's the last option for you not to pay your rent? Of course, simply don't pay it. It's as simple as that. Just don't pay it. And of course, if you don't pay it, the law is against you. I mean, the law will be on top of you. So the point anyway, the most factual two things or two ways on how not to pay your rent are two ways. Build your own home and have an investment that will actually be getting the returns, and the returns from that investment, then you can pay your rent. Now, the question is, this is the most primary one, okay? This is the primary one. Pen's actually refusing to work. This is the most primary one, and this one is the secondary one. This is the primary one, and this one is the secondary one. Now, what happens with these two options is that the primary one is the most common, is the most known, is the most popular, and all those kind of things. But the primary one usually comes with a hefty amount, meaning you require a lot of amount for you to go the primary one. The secondary one, you can also, probably you may argue, the money that you need to own your home may be the equivalent of money that you need to invest for that investment to give you the returns that can be able to use to pay to your rent. Now, what happens, I want us to focus on this one, where you take an investment that can help you to be paying your rent. And I do that. Now, this is how you go about it. Okay? First of all, you start by what? Start by calculating how much you pay for your rent. How much you pay. Okay? Let's deal with an individual who is paying a rent of 15,000 a month. 15,000 a month. This is Kenyan shilling. This is around $150 or something like that. Yeah. Now, let's deal with somebody who is paying this amount of money for their rent. Now, the question should be, how much do I need to have in an investment that will give me 15,000 each and every month? Probably this guy is earning around, say, 60K in a month. 60K in a month, okay? Or 50K, or whichever. Let's work with 60. You can actually use the formula here and apply your numbers. So this guy is so bitter about them paying the rent, and they are wondering, like, what can I do for me to make the rent? So the most primary thing that most of the people usually think is about building your own home. Let's deal with this guy. Let's say this guy is called John. John earns 60,000. John pays house rent for 15,000, which is actually a good number based on what they earn. Now, the point is, if John earns this and pays rent for this, John thinks about one day building a home. Before you reach building the home, let's say if John embarks on building a home, probably John will buy a parcel of land somewhere worth, like, say, 1 million. Okay, because by the way, in Kenya, if you have a money less than 1 million, probably you're gonna buy yourself a parcel of land way far from the cities. But the moment you hit 1 million, at least you're not close to cities that much, maybe in terms of 10, 15, 20 kilometers from the city. With 1 million, you can get something somewhere. Let's say John's budget is 1 million. And of course, John, okay, simply want to rest his family, and John doesn't want a complicated thing. John wants to build a simple 3-bedroom bungalow. Simple 3-bedroom bungalow in Kenya will cost you approximately 3.5 million. Okay, again, it depends on where you build. Some places is far much expensive than this. Some places you can use all the way below by 1 million or 2.6 million, around there. So the point is, let's say John needs to build the bedroom with an average cost of 3.5 million, and of course he needs this 1 million. So therefore, for the parcel of land, so the total John requires around 4.5 million. If John pays rent for 15,000 and John decides out of my 60,000, I'll be setting aside, let's say 20k until the day I hit 4.5 million so that I can build my home. No, it is actually good, it's wonderful, it's better. At the end of the day, we all should focus on building our own home, okay? But now the question is this: it might take John a little bit longer period of time before he gets off the hooks of paying the rent. But what if John embarks on investing or picking a vehicle that will be giving him a return each and every month, and then keep on feeding that particular vehicle? Sure, may not achieve that in a month or two, probably in 1 year may not achieve that, but in a period of 2 years or maybe 2.5 years to at most, let's say 3 years, John will be in a position where he can actually pay the rent comfortably without using his own money. Now, this is how it goes. 15,000, for you to get 15,000 in a return, or for you to get 15,000 as a return from an investment, you need to invest approximately 1.5 million. That's what you need. You need approximately 1.5 million for you. In short, I'm saying if you get 1.5 million invested, say, in a simple investments like, say, MMF or money market fund, that amount of money is able to give you the return of at least 15,000 each and every month. Therefore, you can use the return that you're getting each and every month to pay for your rent, and your money is still there. It is stable, is reliable, and you can actually do that. You can just leave it there. Now, this 15,000, this is just the return. This is the baby money that you get from this amount of money. And then you keep on piling this cash as you hit your target of 4.5 million. Remember, that is the ultimate target for you to do what? To build your own home. See, now, John has already gotten out of the paying the rent, because the money that he has is paying the rent, and that money is paying that particular rent. Now, what happens is that now John probably, let's say he hits this particular target at a period of 3 years. What John now needs to do is to keep on doing that. Remember, now the stress of the rent is off the hook. John to keep on doing exactly what he did to get this, to reach this particular target. If the ultimate John's dream is to build a home, then he can focus on that. Have you seen what I've done? Now, most of the people, they usually use a different formula. You get this 1.5 million, or let's say you get 1 million, immediately you go, you purchase yourself a parcel of land. In Kenya, we call them the 50 by 100. Now, you purchase this parcel of land somewhere, probably 30-40 kilometers from where you live. This land is not generating any cash flow. This is an asset. True, it's appreciating in value, but that's what we call paper appreciation. You cannot realize that appreciated cash unless you liquidate this property. So first of all, this asset is not generating any cash flow. John bought this parcel of land without the capacity to do what? To build a home there. So John has taken his 1 million somewhere, or 1.5 million, has thrown it into a parcel of land which is appreciating. Arguably, it's called a traditional way of investment. I agree, it is appreciating, but it's not generating anything. But what if John was just to do a little bit of delayed gratification? Instead of purchasing an asset that is not generating cash flow, John throw that money into an investment which is stable, reliable. You'd rather even go to your bank and negotiate yourself a fixed deposit, or maybe a sort of just make this money be making you something. It can actually help you to pay this rent. Even if it won't pay you the entire 15,000, assuming you go the bank's way, probably the interest is actually way low. If it pays you half of this, then there is a half that is actually being salvaged. The half of this, which is around 7.5 thousand or 7,500, you can actually channel that towards something else as you propagate yourself. So what I usually find it not so good is you get the cash, you buy an asset which is not generating cash flow, then you go back to hustling in the city, then you leave that parcel of land for the next 7 years. You have never built for the next 7 years. If you had put that 1.5 million in a money market fund, say 7.5 years, let's say you don't even want to use it for you to pay your rent, you just plow back the interest that you're getting there, compounding that period of time, and then you keep on adding that. I'm telling you, you're going to have a lot of money. But people, you purchase this parcel of land, not generating anything. Apparently, there are 4 ways on how you can generate cash flow from a parcel of land. Either you sell it, you lease it, you do farming, or you build rentals. Which one do you have the capacity to? So before you embark on buying land, There is nothing wrong with buying land. I love it. It's amazing. Should I tell you to buy it? Yes, but do so with a plan. There's no need of you buying a parcel of land somewhere and then you just leave it for years and years. You've never done any development. Unless, and I said unless you buy that parcel of land and you want to build a home and you have yourself a timeline. Somebody can purchase this parcel of land and be like, well, I'm doing my mathematics in a period of 3 years. That place will actually be like double of what I bought. There's some places usually appreciating double pricing. So if you realize that places it has high likeliness or chances of it doubling the price, and you may not be able to afford it in future, even if you are to invest in such areas that I'm naming, then that makes a little bit of logic to go that way. But if your stress as of now, as we speak, is actually paying your rent because you have a lot of bills with you right now, then I think channeling that money to an asset that is generating cash flow, it's far much wise than just purchasing anything at any given time. Because if you do that, then you're actually killing or you're constraining your cash flow in the name of acquisition of an asset that does not generate cash flow, which can actually result into you struggling. Because I've seen that. I had one session with a gentleman who happens to be a teacher. And the gentleman was telling me, Joseph, I earn a salary of around 55,000. I actually took a loan to buy a parcel of land. You know, traditionally, if you're a Kenyan, Kenyans and pieces of lands, it's like, So the guy ended up and borrowed around 1.2 million. And he bought a parcel of land, a 50 by 100 somewhere. And the guy was actually being deducted around 25,000 in a month. From 55, deduct 25, we are speaking the language of 30,000. The cash flow has already done what? Has actually been constricted. This guy has to pay rent where he lives. 2, this guy has family. He has to cater for them. This guy has some other bills to pay. Black tax is there. This guy has to develop. So the guy was telling me, Joseph, okay, I asked him, if it was the wise decision you could have ever made, traditionally as it is perceived, then why are you contacting with Joseph? He told me, oh, by the way, talking of contacting with Joseph, that's my number out there, in case you need my services in one way or the other. That's my number. So now, the guy was telling me, Joseph, I'm unable even to survive. I'm finding it very hard. Sure, I'm paying the rent comfortably from that end, but whatever is left behind here, I'm unable to even survive comfortably. I sacrificed my cash flow for the sake of acquisition of an asset, because traditionally is arguably that if you're a man, you have to own a parcel of land somewhere, It is good, but the timing is where we draw the line. There's nothing wrong with you owning a land. I 100% support it, and I can shout it to the top of my voice. It is good to own that. But the problem is the timing. When are you supposed to earn it? Just learn how the aspect of multiplying the money. And you see, most of the people who purchase these parcels of land is that the people with the mentality of that money is a product to be consumed rather than a what? A tool to be used to make more money. If you buy that parcel of land with an idea of liquidating it, by the way, sometimes I tell people, if you have that 1.5 billion, instead of buying that particular parcel plot somewhere that you don't even have a plan of building it, you'd rather go to a developing place, buy an acre of land that goes for around 1.3 million or that 1.5 million. Subdivide that parcel of land, then start selling. You are in business. Sure, you won't liquidate that property within a click of a button, but with time, you'll be. I saw somebody who actually went somewhere and bought this parcel of land, or an acre of land, and he subdivided. An acre gives you around 850 by 100 plots with some roads and what have you. And then he was advertising those parcels of land to his colleagues where he works. And he got like 4 colleagues who bought that. Half of the property is gone. And then you remain with the other property. And of course, by the time you liquidate the entire property, you have a business to run. Sure, it will take you time. Sure, requires commitment. Sure, requires a lot of connections and what have you. Connect with the brokers to sell you. But at least it's making sense. If you give it a timeline of, let's say, 4 years or 3 years, by the time you're selling all the entire parcels of lands, you're good to go. You'll have maybe probably doubled your cash or something like that. And without, little did you know, you can even get yourself getting into that business of selling the lands. So anyway, that was not the point. The point was, how do you pay your rent without using your money? That was the point. That was the goal. That is the ultimate target. And I hope I've left you with something that at least you can be. You see, I have to try the best I can to come here. We learn this, I'm not standing here because I know everything, but at least there's something that you can be able to share here and there. And that's why I always encourage you. Please leave a comment on the comment section. Tell me where you're watching me from. And by the way, don't forget to hit that like button. Make sure that you subscribe, and see you in the next one. And by the way, in case you need my services, don't forget that's my number. Shoot me a call, shoot me a text. Let's have a discussion. They say, and I'm a subscriber of just like an iron sharpens another iron, so do we learn from each other. I bet I also have something I can learn from you. This is Good Joseph as always. See you in the next one.